Alright, welcome to the final installment of this authentication code along. All that we have left to do is to add in the logout functionality, and then also we're going to add in a middleware called isLoggedIn to check if a user is logged in or not. So we'll get to that in time. Let's start with logout. So logout is much simpler than login or register. We don't need to have two routes. We don't need a form. All that we want is a simple link. And when we click on that link, it should sign out or log out the current user. So let's start with a link. I'll go to the home page to begin and add in a link to /logout, which doesn't exist. And we'll just say log out. And let's also add in a link to login, since we haven't done that yet, /login. And now let's copy this and let's put it on all the templates, just so we have those three links on every page. Okay, now let's go back to our app.js and we need to handle that logout route. So we need to add in an app.get /logout, and we can start nice and simple by just sending something back. res.send, okay, I will log you out, not yet, and save. And we should see this when we click on that link. Let's start our server. Let's try and log out now. Refresh the page. And it doesn't matter if we're logged in or not. If we click log out, we get that response, which is what we want. Now what we need to do is actually log the user out, which is really simple using Passport. It's a simple line, request.logout. That's all we need to do. And remember, when we log someone out, we're not actually changing anything in the database. There's no transaction there. What's happening is that Passport is destroying all the user data in this session. It's no longer keeping track of this user's data in the session from request to request. So if we save, and then we also want something to happen at the end, like a redirect. So let's redirect to the home page. Just redirect to / once you've been logged out. Okay, let's restart the server. And let's give it a shot. So I'll refresh. I'll start by logging in, and I'll log in as Colt with the account I created with my password as password. I log in, I get to the secret page. Now let's click log out, and it takes me back to the home page. And that's it. So logout's pretty simple. We don't need any of the forms. It's a single route /logout, and all that we do every time is request.logout. And that takes care of everything for us. That's coming from Passport. In the unit where we create our login from scratch, we'll actually be writing the method logout, we'll be writing authenticate, we'll be writing register. But for now, Passport makes it super easy for us. We do have a problem though, which is that even though I'm logged out, I just clicked log out, I can still go to /secret. There's nothing stopping me from getting there. So our code right now sends us to /secret when we sign up and when we log in, but I can still go there even if I'm not signed in. Log out, and I can still go to /secret. To fix that, we need to add in a middleware. And what we want to do is on this secret route, before we do anything, we're going to check if the user is logged in or not. If the user is logged in, then we'll render this template. If the user is not logged in, then we'll redirect them to /login. And the way that we do that is by writing a middleware. So we're going to define a function down at the bottom here. And this function is going to be called isLoggedIn. And it takes three parameters: request, response, and next. And this is standard for middleware. Request refers to the request object, response is the response object, and next is actually the next thing that needs to be called. And we don't have to set any of this up. Just by adding it in as a middleware, which we'll do in just a moment, Express takes care of it, and it knows what function to call next. But we'll start by defining the functionality here. So isLoggedIn, we're going to check if request.isAuthenticated, which is something that comes with Passport as well. Make sure we spelled that right. Is authenticated. Then we're going to return next, which is a little bit weird looking. And then I'll come back to that. Otherwise, what we'll do, and we don't need an else because we're returning here. So what we'll do is res.redirect to the login form /login. And then we'll add this as a middleware is logged in to our /secret route, which is right here. And it's really simple. We just have to add is logged in right here and then a comma. So what this will do is when a request comes in, a GET request to /secret, it's going to run this before it does anything else. It's going to run is logged in, which will do this. It's going to check, is the request authenticated? If it is, return next and run next. That's what the parentheses here are. And next is just going to refer to this right here. So before we render secret, we want to check if the user's logged in. Again, that's what we're doing. If the user's logged in, basically keep going, move along, you're fine. Otherwise, if the user's not authenticated, then we have a problem and we're going to redirect you back to /login, and this other code will never run. So if we redirect inside of is logged in, we're done. And this doesn't happen. Okay, let's save, restart the server, make sure we don't have any syntax errors. Let's go back. And let's start on the root page. Make sure I'm not logged in. And now I'll try and go to /secret. And it takes me to /login automatically. See that? Now let's log in. Colt with my password equal to password. Log in. Now I can go to the secret page. Now let's go back to the root and try to go to secret again. And it works because I'm logged in. So I can go back and forth. I can go to whatever routes I want, sign up, and then go back to secret. But then as soon as I log out and I try to go back to secret, it doesn't work anymore. Let's just double check that our sign up works. Let's make a new account called Tater, and password will also be password. And let's submit. That makes us a new account. I can now visit secret, and then I can log out, and that destroys the session, and I can no longer go to secret. All right, so we've covered a lot in this series, 5 different parts to create this user auth, and this is even using those tools that I said would help us out. It's definitely a bit of an undertaking, but it's obviously worth it. Most web apps really benefit from having login, because as we'll see in Yelp Camp, our next video, we'll be able to add login, and it's not just to put stuff behind a login wall, but we can actually associate data with a user. Right now, we just have the secrets page hidden unless you're logged in, but in Yelp Camp, we'll actually associate specific comments with a user so that we can see who exactly made a comment. So before I sign off here, let's go back and just do a quick recap of the most important part, which is our middleware. So isLoggedIn is a function we defined, and we can define as many middleware as we want, and they all take these 3 parameters: the request, the response, and the next function. And then if things are fine, if we want to move on to the next middleware, we just call next, just like that. And in our case, if things are not fine, if the request is not authenticated, that returns false. Then we short circuit and redirect to /login. All right, hopefully you enjoyed learning about user authentication. I'll see you in the next video.